The human visual system has two modes. It has the focal and the panoramic. The focal is the one we use to see objects that are nearby, and like for example, when you're looking at your phone, when you're and or you're watching TV, that's a focal mode. And what happens with the focal mode is that it activates chemicals in our body that put us in kind of a vigilance and attention state, and the other mode is the panoramic. The panoramic is more at a distance. The panoramic mode, what it does is that different to the focal mode that focus pretty much in one specific thing that is nearby. The focal it's more, it's like in an opening, like when you go sightseeing. That's a panoramic, and it calms the nervous system, because different to the focal mode, the panoramic doesn't it deactivates the vigilance and attention that the focal mode activates. One of the things of the panoramic is that it doesn't it catches the movement pretty well, but it has a very low level, like I say, like a very low level of vigilance. So one of the things that have happened since the predominance of the smartphones, let's say from 2010 on, is that as we use more the smartphone, we activate more the focal system, and that creates more vigilance and more stress. So what happens is that we are more stressed, and because it has happened, like with everybody around the world, you see a lot of people, they're on their phones. So of course that affects the mood of the person. One of the things that happens, for example, is that for people that have claustrophobia, they say that scientists say it's not really the people that have claustrophobia. It's not really the fact that they are in an enclosed environment that really affects them, or being close to other people. Is more the fact that they cannot look at the distance. That you cannot see something at a long distance, and that's what really affects them. And what has happened is that now that we have had the virus since last year, a lot of people around the world have been they have been enclosed in their boxes, in their apartments, and that creates in the moment that you pretty much stay in your place, let's say, and you don't practice a panoramic view, you ignite or you engage the vigilance and stress reaction. That's why the statistics say, ever since the virus, home violence has gone up, and murders have gone up and all that, because people are very, they're not in the same mental state that they were before it happened. So one of the important things that you can do is, they say, when you have time off at work, or when you're at home and you feel stressed, make time to try to look and focus on something at a distance in the panoramic mode. It can be through a window, or it's even better if you can take a couple of minutes or 5 minutes and go out and take a walk. And they say it also works if you just look up at the clouds or the stars. But it's got to be something where you can look at the distance, and that will help you get feel better and control much better your stress. So if you think about it, what that tells me is that pretty much, if you're looking at your phone the whole time, and then you go home and you watch TV, and then you go to bed and you spend 1 hour looking at your iPad, and when you do that, the only thing that you're doing is, it's just normal that your body is going to be more stressed. It's normal that you're not going to react the same way you react when you go out in the open, like people like to go hiking or do the sports out in the open, or activities. So I think I think that's good information, to say, okay, it's good to know that pay attention whether you're doing the focal vision or panoramic during the day, and that way you can also say, okay, it's good to take at the end of the day 10-15 minutes, go take a walk, just get out of the place where you can have a nice view, sightseeing, and the importance is that the panoramic is not really focusing on anything. It's just, you have the entire view, from one side and the other, and doesn't have that stress that the focal vision has, that is focusing on one single thing. I just think it's good information. It's something good to know, and it also kind of give us a pretty good idea of why many times, and I think that I have noticed that when I work outside. I'm a tennis coach, but when I have days where I don't, if it's raining or something, and for some reason I'm used to go out in the open and I don't do it, my mood is very different. I don't feel as I kind of find it a little bit difficult, or more difficult, to find myself in a good mood, let's say. All right. Well, I hope it's good information for you guys. I hope you find it interesting, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.